That's a great story. Let's move on. Let's move on because there's the big story of the weekend is that Captain Marvel pulled in what 155? Is that what it was?
Big
155 and something like 400 million.
Yeah,
something
worldwide.
Worldwide, a lot to be taken in. I thought the movie it was mixed. It was mixed for people. I enjoyed the movie. I had fun. Truth be told, I think I like Shazam better. Mm-hmm. But I think that the movie itself is a fun movie. I think it does what it's supposed to do. So let's see. It did start sitting around 150 million. The film's opening numbers are just the latest success story. Okay, and it did some 455 million. 455 million. So if you look at it, it's a big success for Marvel. Once again, sets it up. It depending on how it does leading up to Avengers, could probably crack a bill. Probably will do it. There's a lot to be said here. It's the one side of the thing. We didn't really talk about it too much, and I'm opening up a can of worms, and I guess I should just do it anyway. I don't know the truth. What Roxy, take me through this full story here. The main reason that the stupid, silly Rotten Tomatoes thing, where people are just voting down on it because they're trying to prove a point. Mm-hmm. The one thing I try to tell people, and the people who are making their videos to their subscribers and going, don't see this movie, see Alita instead. Yeah. You're talking to a small bubble. Because there are a lot of people who are not on YouTube and they're not on Twitter, and clearly it didn't work. So you do something else with your life. It's like you don't have to support the movie. Now, the reason some people were having this issue, and this is what I think that the story was, that Brie Larson had said she had noticed a problem inside of these junkets. And what she noticed was there wasn't a lot of it wasn't very inclusive to women, people of color. And she made the comment that when she looks around, all she sees are white male reporters, and she wanted to have more people of color, more women, go ahead.
Just real quick, like every time I'm in a junket, it seems very heavy female. Maybe that's just me.
But wait, but there's I think there's a lot of merit to the statement, but there's a counter to it. But then what people were saying wrong was that she's saying that white men aren't allowed to her junket. She never said that. She said white men can't interview her, can't see her movie. She never said that. But that's what the narrative started to become, and people started getting mad. And here's where I thought, and this is a conversation. And please, if you feel differently, please tell me, because I want to have the conversation. This is not a stamp down. Here is the thing that I agree with Brie Larson. I think every junket should be equal. I think that you should have, especially for this movie, there should be a lot of women. There should be a lot of women in general to every movie, more people of color. Here's my problem with the statement up top. Don't just say, all I see is white men. Because when you say that, it's going to make the white guy, oh, shoot, should I not have my position? You can say exactly what you said. You can say, there needs to be more women. There needs to be more people of color. Because guess what? You're right. You're 100% right. Mm-hmm. But then me, as a white reporter, go, oh, man, like I feel like, am I doing something wrong? Because it's the same thing. You don't want to say, you don't ever want to hear like, oh, I looked around and there's just too many black reporters. There's too many women reporters. So, and I want to get more white people in there. You can't do that. No. You can't. And so you shouldn't be able to. You should be careful on how you say things in general. Because again, her statement, 100% right. Mm-hmm. She's absolutely right. That you need, and it's getting better. There are more and more people inside the space. There are more people getting more opportunities, but there needs to be more. There needs to be more opportunities, and I'm aware of that. But you have to be careful on how you phrase things. That's all I'm saying. Would you counter that? Or?
I think we talk about it on the show a lot. I don't think she phrased it perfectly.
That's my problem. That's all it is.
Her sentiment is totally fine. I don't think she phrased it perfectly, but a lot of people are given the benefit of the doubt more than she was in that situation. And like we've talked about before, in this 2019 time, there is no, hey, Brie, you said this thing. Can you clarify for us? There is none of that.
It's just right. Yeah, that's Twitter. That's right, Roxy.
And so it's unfortunate because I think her heart was in the right place. I think Zachary Levi saw that her heart was in the right place, which is why he went and stood up for her a lot. And then he started getting hate for standing up for her comments because of what she said, which was, again, should she have phrased it slightly differently? Yeah. Would have had a better impact. Would people have still complained? Of course.
Of course. There's no win. There's no win regardless. She could have. You're absolutely right. She could have phrased it right.
The way she did phrase it, I was kind of like,
Yeah.
Like the second I was like, oh no.
Yes, but the thing was, like, I wasn't, even though I could tell you how I could feel about it, I wasn't mad. I wasn't going to stomp my feet and go, now I'm not going to see the movie. You don't win. You don't do it. Clearly, that did nothing. It did nothing. It made me $500 million. It did nothing.
I mean, it did nothing in so much the sense that I didn't even know she said it. Right. And I'm like, had my finger on the pulse of things. And I will say, I feel like that she's wrong. Now, maybe at Marvel premieres, there's a ton of white dudes that are like nerdy reporters that want to get the scoop and that love these Marvel properties. And I might sound sexist in saying that there's a lot more dudes that go to superhero movies than there are women. And that's just like the fact of the matter, right?
No, well, not this one.
Not this one.
I know, but
in general.
Like
Marvel
I'm saying
in
general,
fact, more women showed up to this. That
Yes.
was
that's
cool.
great. It's amazing. It would have been great if those women showed up to the polls and voted for Hillary Clinton. What I'm saying is that we need.
Who was that?
A lot of
That
women
was on
didn't.
me.
A lot of women didn't come out to the polls. They just didn't. They didn't. It's a fact. Look at the polling numbers. I'm
No,
just
I-
saying.
Look at the flip side of that.
Don't make a woman pull joke.
And again, just to be on the
just didn't
opposite
know
side,
who we were
just
throwing
to be on
shade
the
at.
opposite side here, there were a lot of women also who voted for Trump.
Correct.
And wanted Trump.
You're
so,
right. You're
so
right. Regardless.
Yeah, just saying.
No, let's
lot-
make
lot
this
of
I'm
men-
going to get some Trump hate.
No.
I'm just saying.
I don't want to get scared of conversations. No, but I'm serious. I don't want you to know. Wait a minute, we're talking about this. Yes, we can talk about it, and and it's the whole thing. And I get it. And one of the things that someone said, by the way, please hold your thought because I want to get back to it. Someone said this the other day, and I could not agree with you more. Someone said when we had our whole conversation about the negativity and everything, and then you and I. Admittingly, we're being a little bit of babies last week, and that's fine. I get it, right? But the thing is, too, what I have to also realize, and someone brought this conversation up, there are a lot of people out there, whether it be the Rogans or whoever it is, those comment section to them, they don't exist.
Yeah.
There's different going in the Facebook group and interacting with the Facebook group because people. I am out of the comments now. I'm out of there.
I haven't
didn't
looked at
look
comments in years.
I love them.
I'm not doing it anymore. And you guys can argue and scream and yell at yourselves all day long. We're all gonna talk about whatever we want to talk about. Go through wherever we want to go in the conversation, and that's it. Because, like I said, I tweet Schmodown stuff and tweet everything else. I don't check it anymore. I am disconnecting myself when it comes to not Twitter because I tried to do that once and wasn't able to do it for promotion. But whoever that person was that tweeted that out, just don't pay attention to the comments anymore. That's exactly what I'm doing. So go ahead.
And I'm totally with you on that one. It's amazing that the conversation can go wherever. Kind of like how Roxy gets to the opposite of David that way.
That's true.
That's the point. I
We
go
get there,
wherever.
though.
It went to
we
Koreatown.
get there eventually.
Yeah.
I did. I got here.
We got here
and that
eventually.
Was the point.
And so did we.
I was just laughing because you went sensitive to ultra sensitive within the same sentence, and I was like, here we go.
Sure.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is every time I'm at junkets, for whenever Schmoes has sent me to junkets, Collider has sent me to junkets, whatever, I'm friends with all the women that walk in there, and I don't know any of the dudes, and it feels like it's like 3 to 1 women to men when I'm at those junkets. It really does. But maybe that's the time when I'm at the junkets, and maybe some of these bigger press conferences, it's way more heavy male. But every time I go to a junket, I know all of the girls. I don't know any of the dudes.
Right.
But
But
because
I
there's
think
just more
that-
women. But maybe that's, I don't know, maybe
Yeah, because I run that circuit sometimes too.
Sure.
And I think that it's gotten a lot better over the last few years. And by better, I mean more equal. But I also think that the talent doesn't always know what they're talking about in terms of what's a press line, what's a junket, what's the
Who has access to them too, by the way. Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
produce whatever it is. I think in general, like on the carpet, there's a lot of men. There's a lot.
Is there?
Yeah.
That's a
was
great
more
point.
women
You know
on the
what? That
carpet,
point is very valid because here's a perfect example. So Creed, when we did the interviews for Creed, I had access to Stallone because I was part of Fandango at the time, right? I was one of 6 journalists that got. I don't know who the other 5 were that got him, and whether they're white dudes, women. I have no idea. But you're right because now Stallone. How does Stallone see that day? How does Stallone say, "Well, those are the reporters that I saw"?
That I talked to.
Correct. So it's one of those. He didn't.
fair point.
He didn't talk to everyone that was there because when you go inside that room, the room you're talking about, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people.
And tons of women and tons of people of color, and
Yes.
that's growing like crazy.
Right.
But they don't see. I mean, unless they've been on the other side of it, like an Olivia Munn who came from the world, they don't even know. They don't know what's going on. It's like when I ask those junket questions and I get yelled at. And it's like I have a producer. They don't know
how it works.
They don't know any of it. Which it's not their job to know.
And the point is, though, this movie crushed it. It did very well. It's going to continue to do well and lead into the Avengers. And I say it every single time. We work in a bubble. The movie space in general, whether you're part of this space, whether it's you're part of Collider or Screen Junkies or whoever, right? Or making videos out there, you were a fan that now became a trusted voice, right? It's a bubble. It is a bubble that the majority of the people who spent that $455 million, they don't know who you are. They don't know who we are. They go because they saw, because the marketing either worked or it didn't. They did not hear your message of vote it down on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
They did not hear us. Raven is saying how good it was or it wasn't. They didn't hear us.
I actually think that maybe they did partially hear.
Some did.
And it helps the movie out a lot. Because I think it lit a fire. Like my wife's, what
happened?
My brother,
Hey, Roxy!
my brother's wife, my sister-in-law, was like, "Screw these people! I'm going open tonight," which is what I think a lot of people thought. Which was like,
but are they connected to this space at all? They pay attention to what you do.
They pay attention, but they're not. They live in Boston.
I know, but that doesn't matter. But they pay attention to it. My point is, like, again.
Maybe it doesn't have effect, but maybe it does in the opposite direction that they want it to be.
To some people, for sure. And look, to the flip side of that argument also is maybe it would have made $457 million, and maybe there was $2 million.
What do you think it does domestic at the end of the day?
It's at what? Right now it's at 150. Yeah. 400.
Okay.
I bet you it makes about 400. But
what did Black Panther make domestically?
Five something.
550, I think.
Let's see.
Like 700.
Did it?
Something like that.
Well, we're going to find out in a second.
Alex is typing.
Thank you, Alex and Cody.
700.
700.
Wow.
Look at that. 700.
That's
Yeah. So there you go. So
let me
maybe
ask
over
you-
500. I don't know.
Maybe 4 or 5.
This might sound like an ignorant thing coming from a white man, but just go with me for a second.
Okay.
I understand supporting like women wanting to support women. I understand like other races wanting to support other races. Why does it have to be so segregated and separated? Be like, oh, it's a woman, we are gonna support her. It's a black guy, we're gonna support him. It's this, we're gonna support him. But as soon as a white guy goes, oh, it's a white guy, I'm gonna support him, he sounds like a racist. Like, what is that?
I can try to
please.
take that.
Yeah,
Please.
because I would love to support women, but I don't go at it like from a
Let me try to
segregated
take it.
thing. Go ahead.
So I think it's a couple of different things. Number one, if a female-led film does not do well right now, that means they don't make more female-led films. There's been enough history and enough proof that a white man in a leading role, people go to see. Like, they're just going to go see it. So it doesn't need that extra support. And right now, if you're a person of color and you're the lead in a role in a movie, or you're a woman and it doesn't do well, it's everything.
Yeah.
And it affects the future so much more. So I'm not one of those people who's like, you guys know I see everything. I love good films. I even like crappy films sometimes. But I'm not one of those people who only goes to see lead women in movies. But
you're there to support.
understand.
Yeah.
I understand why, because if you don't show up, these movies aren't going to get made. Yeah. And white men,
No, that makes sense.
are.
But also, women have been in movies forever, and and
They've been in them.
Well, but this is
They've been in them.
been leading. I mean, rom-coms. I mean, leading
But
ladies.
not all
That's the
different-
whole thing.
Not
Yeah,
all
but-
different types of women. Now, I'm not just talking about diversity of appearance. I'm talking about there hasn't been representation for different kinds of women.
Look, the other thing,
the
too-
wife, the
And listen, I'm not trying to like sound like a
homemaker,
misogynist here on this one. I'm just saying, as a
you're having a
people,
conversation.
as a people, like I want to go support a good movie. I understand supporting and all this kind of stuff, but it's like if you didn't go out, you hate women. If you didn't go and support this, you hate women. If you didn't see Black Panther, you don't like black people. That's like where the toxicity of this whole thing comes in for me, is that like if you don't,
But we got to separate.
You
those.
are one.
But you got to separate though too, because that's not unsimilar from other people just screaming out into the void on things too. Because Roxy's point, I think, nailed it.
And no, it makes sense. It
but
makes total sense.
And there are a lot of people out there that are saying, see this movie, A, because it's good,
Yeah.
B, because of everything that Roxy just said, as far as because you have to have a good movie in order for people to want to support it as well too. Because Catwoman was a lead superhero movie that sucked.
Yes.
Right now, this is a movie that you're right. You need to put that support in there.
Elektra.
But this is the dangerous thing that, and I saw this in the Facebook group over the weekend too. Someone was asking questions about, basically something similar to what you just said. Why you can say that, and then the response, which I wish that response would have come in what Roxy just said, because that to me was a very valid way to
Put it into
intelligently
a business sense, and
Yeah.
that makes total
but
sense.
But
to me.
intelligent, but more so than just business. Because yes, it's business, but it's also because of why the support, of what it meant. Because there have even the romantic comedies, yes, sure, but this is Marvel's first female-led superhero movie. This is a big time for them, right? The response that I saw that is ignorant and it is also dangerous is like, well, and this was from a white person who had said, well, we had our years to shine. So now it's basically it's okay for people to say whatever they want about every race. You can see, somebody can make a crack on white people because we've been in charge for basically what they were saying for the last 1,000 years, whatever it was.
Yeah.
So that to me, it's like that doesn't help. It doesn't
I don't
help.
want to see, and I know nobody's saying I do, but I don't want to not see the movies that were being made get made. I just want to be able to look at the screen and see something that resembles me, which
Yes.
I didn't have. It wasn't there.
And sitting down next to RB3 during Black Panther,
Yeah.
right, and looking at the smile on his face, and looking at my friends that were there, many people of color who just. For that reason alone, too, it is
It's cool.
important. It's important.
Yeah.
And then you look at directors so far, like Jordan Peele and everything that he's doing now, and the inclusion that stuff that he's doing, whether it be Us or Get Out, very important and a great shift into the film culture and things that we're doing. So I think that the stuff that is being done is great. The message that is continuing to happen is great. But I think that everyone on all sides needs to express themselves better. From the people could have said this thing about if those Brie Larson comments offended them, right? What they could have said was similar to what we just said here. Listen, I understand what you're trying to say, but I feel insulted, and I'd like to get, like you said, a clarification.
Yeah, can you clarify?
But that wasn't
and I'm
it.
sure
It's
she would've.
pitchforks and screaming and yelling like children.
Yeah, and then the other thing is, I think in general, with any kind of movie that you want to see more of, it doesn't just have to be black, white, woman, man, whatever. Like, if you want to see more indies, you have to go out and support indies.
Yeah,
right.
If you want to go see more animated movies on the big screen, you got to go see Spider-Verse. Not just because it's Miles Morales, who is a black man, but also because of that. But because you want to see Marvel be able to put out more animation. So whatever you're trying to see more, that's what you need to go out and support.
I agree with the representation thing, and you want to see a woman, all of that kind of thing. Maybe. I guess it's I'm. You can call me ignorant, whatever. I guess coming from a white guy, I don't like look at representation. I look at like quality, right? So, if like Get Out, right? Great movie, scared the hell out of me, whatever. And the black lead in that, great. I mean, I want to see the good performances. I just don't want to see representation via a visual image.
Yeah.
I want to see representation
Through
via
good performances.
awesome. What Brie Larson did, I'm sure I haven't seen Captain Marvel, but I'm sure what she did is a badass. Her in Room was
Right.
probably 30 times better than what she did in Captain Marvel.
But that's the thing, though, is that today, women and people of color are getting more opportunities to do better quality. Back in the day, especially when I was at Silver Pictures, right? I remember all these roles that come in. I can't remember who it was exactly, and I wouldn't call the person out, but we can't make a woman superhero movie. What was said? It was somebody inside of Warner Brothers, not at Silver, but it was like because it just won't make money.
Right.
Fast forward now, Wonder Woman. Captain Marvel.
So we have to show them that it will, and that's the point.
We're starting to do that. It's the same thing. I remember for a long time, 10, 15 years ago, I can't go, not me personally, but people felt, I can't, this movie's not for me. It's all black cast.
This was happening even as recently as with action figures, when they put out the Justice League ones. The Cyborg action figure was not selling as well. And so a lot of stores started pulling them from the shelves because they weren't selling as well or not buying as many of them. And so when you would get there, you would only see Superman, Batman, and the Flash. And not as much Wonder Woman and not as much. And it was
He
because...
also didn't do a lot with his character in that movie.
Definitely that's true
Right.
also, but it was because they're not getting purchased as much, and these are businesses. So what you have to do to combat that
Buy them.
is you have to buy them.
Right. Yeah.
You can't just yell at the fact that, because they're business people, and if the Cyborg one is making the most money, they're gonna keep it on the show.
As opposed to when the Rey dolls weren't even making them at first. They weren't even making them. It's like at least the Cyborg one got a chance.
Yeah.
So it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's I want to jump out of it though too, because like I said, I'm sure there's been a big conversation wherever it's going on.